Okay, welcome back to the video lecture series on network theory. This is lecture number 20 and we are into module number 2. Okay. So in the last class we have discussed about the various problems based on the Thevenin's theorem concept. So in that I had considered only the circuits having the DC excitation, right? Only DC voltage source or DC current source were there, and along with the independent and dependent variables were also there. Okay. So in today's class, we shall discuss about, we'll continue the Thevenin's theorem problems, and I will call it as part number 2, and a few problems on Norton's theorem. Okay. Now, coming to the first problem here. So, what I have taken is this problem. So, this is again based on AC circuits. Okay. So, what is being asked again? You have to find Thevenin's equivalent network for the terminals A and B. Okay. So, across A and B, you should reduce it to Thevenin's equivalent network. So we know already what is the meaning of Thevenin's equivalent network. So across AB, you should reduce this circuit in such a way that you should get only a voltage source that we call it as Thevenin's voltage, and a impedance or resistance that we call it as Thevenin's impedance or Thevenin's resistance. Okay. So now if you go through this given problem, so the requirement is what? We should get a Thevenin's equivalent network across the terminals AB. Okay, so this VTH we have to calculate and ZTH. So when we can call ZTH, when you have both inductor, resistor and capacitor combination. Otherwise, if you have only a resistive network, we can just call it as RTH. So no issues in that. Right now, if you look into the circuit, so first step is what? Step number 1. Step number 1 is we have to calculate VTH. Okay. So before you implement the Thevenin's theorem, first you check whether the circuit has any dependent or independent source. So it is completely independent excited circuit, right? So there are no dependent sources. So but we have the impedance. So methodology will remain the same, right? Calculation of VTH. So across VTH, across AB, whatever voltage you calculate across AB, by keeping the terminals AB open, so that voltage we call it as VTH. So I have applied here the mesh analysis. So I have assumed here I1 current and I2 current which are flowing. Okay, and if you observe here, so we have two impedances in series, J5 ohms and minus J4 ohms. So if you add them, so what you will get is J ohms only. Okay, so this you can replace it here. So just for our reference, I have just combined these things and I'm calling them as Z1 and this one as Z2 and this one as Z3. Okay, so that while calculating it will be easy for you. So what is Z1? 3 minus J4 ohms, Z2 is 4 plus J6 ohms and Z3 is J ohms. Okay, now one more observation what you can do is, since this second loop it is not complete loop, so here we have the open circuit, so we can say that I2 current will be 0. Okay, now if you take it as I2 current as 0, then how to solve this? So if you use the mesh analysis, also you can calculate. So now mesh analysis is applicable only to first loop only, as second loop is incomplete and the current is also 0. So directly you can calculate I1. I1 is what now? I1 will be V divided by R, that is 50 at an angle 0 divided by Z1 plus Z2. Z1 plus Z2 will be what? 3 plus 4, that will be 7, and minus J4 plus J6, that will result into plus J2. So if you calculate that, you will be getting I1 as this value. Okay, but what is VTH? VTH is nothing but the current through combination of current through Z2 and Z3, right? So in Z3 we can say clearly I2 will flow, so this term will be 0. So this term will be 0. So what is the total current which is flowing in Z2? So if you consider Z2 only, so here we have I1 current and in opposite direction we have I2 current, which is 0. So what we can write, VTH will be equal to I1 times Z2. So if you do that, I1 times Z2 is 4 plus J6. So if you do that, you will get this voltage. Okay, so are you all getting this, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if anybody is having any kind of difficulties, you can ask. So what we did here, since it is an open circuit, so if you find any open circuit, keep one thing in mind, current will be 0 but voltage will be there, right? So what will happen? So you have to define VTH. So you can define this VTH in many ways. So if I have this kind of circuit, and if I want to solve for VTH, so you can apply mesh analysis here also. You can write, if you go clockwise, you will get VTH, and if I assume this as Z1 Z2 plus current flowing in Z1 plus current flowing in Z2 equal to 0. So since what we have here, we have some closed path, so but no current will flow through Z2, so this we can discard. Okay, so if you apply in the required way, you will be getting this. So for this circuit here, what I have drawn here, so you can write this as I1 times Z1. So minus is not applicable here for this. Okay, so once you find VTH, next is the calculation of ZTH. So what you have to do for calculation of ZTH, again the same thing, you are measuring the impedance across AB by disabling the sources. So we have only one independent voltage source, that is shorted now. So what you get is Z1, Z2 here and Z3. So Z1 and Z2, they are in parallel. So that value is in series with this. So that means you will be getting, this is Z1 parallel with Z2 in series with Z3. Okay, so if you do that in the using the calculator, so you should get this value. So we got both VTH as well as ZTH. Okay, so once you confirm these values properly, then you can go for the actual equivalent value, equivalent network with VTH and ZTH. So if you solve this much, you can get around 6 to 7 marks, or even sometimes for 10 marks also they will ask. But before you put these values, just cross verify your calculations, whatever calculations you have done. Okay, so do not make any hurry in the examination, whether it is internal or externals. Okay, so you need to practice. Okay, now similarly, now if I consider second problem, obtain Thevenin's equivalent network for the terminals A and B. So we have Vs Z1, Z2, Z3, Z4 given, and what is Vs Z1, Z2, Z3 and Z4? They are mentioned here. So if you observe this network, it is very much similar to the network which we have solved for DC excitations also. So it is a AC excitation here. Okay. Now, can I write this circuit like this? Just observe here what I have done. So if you observe these 2 points, so between these 2 points we have the voltage source. So I have just kept that voltage source there. And where are our A and B points? A point is in between Z1 and Z3, right? And B point is between Z2 and Z4. Okay. So is that clear now? The modified circuit. So once you are confirmed with this circuit, so now what is our requirement? So what we need to find? So we need to find VTH. So VTH you can find, or you have to find between the terminals A and B. So we have terminal A here and terminal B. So we have some network over here. So either you can find VTH from here to here, or you may find VTH from here to here also. Okay, both are same. So what I have done, we can calculate VTH in 2 ways. I have written. One is by considering the current through Z1 and Z2. If you know the current through Z1 and Z2, that is also enough, because VTH is nothing but the potential difference between point A and B only. Okay. Then, or by considering what current through Z3 and Z4. So here I have written both current values, current through Z3 and Z1. If you want to find current through this current, and second one is this current. So if you want to find the current through Z3 and Z1, how to write this? So we are concentrating only on this part of the circuit, this current. Which current will flow here? So that can be defined as what? Main voltage source divided by impedance, Vs divided by Z1 plus Z3. So if you do that, you will get this. Similarly, if you calculate current through Z2 and Z4, then you will be getting this. Okay. Next, what you can do is, so since we want the voltage VTH, so what I have considered is, I have considered VTH across Z3 and Z4 will be how much? So here we have Z3 and Z4. So if you just draw the rough diagram over there, so it looks something like this. We have A, and here we have Z3, and here we have Z4, and here is the terminal B. So here across this I am finding VTH. So if I go clockwise or anti-clockwise, whatever way, so I can apply KVL to this outer loop also to find the VTH. So if you do that, what you will be getting is minus VTH plus I1 times 12 plus J24. So what is this I1 times 12 plus J24? So 12 plus J24 is nothing but your Z3. So here, as we have calculated I1, this current will be flowing I1 through these two impedances, okay, because of this voltage source, and here you will be getting I2. So I1 cannot flow, it is not a single loop, okay. So like that, if you calculate, what you will be getting is the VTH value as this. Okay, so finally we arrive at VTH is equal to this value. So next is again the same thing. You have to calculate the RTH or ZTH. So if you disable that voltage source, so it will come here. So what will happen? Z1 and Z3 will be in parallel. Z2 and Z4 will be in parallel. So if you calculate equivalent impedance or resistance, so you will be getting this much value. So finally we get the value as VTH is equal to this voltage and ZTH is equal to this voltage. Okay, and here particularly if you observe here, I have written what I have written. This current is negative because as I2 is flowing in the opposite direction of KVL flow assumed. So that means if you consider point A and B, okay, so we are going like this. We are traversing like this from B to Z3, then back to B. So while this current I2 will be in opposite direction, but you are going in opposite direction, hence that will be minus. Okay, so if you put plus, then entire answer will be wrong. Okay, so yes, is that clear now to everyone, this problem?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, next one. Again the same thing, you have to find the Thevenin's equivalent network across the terminal A and B only. Okay, so if you look into this one now, this problem, so what is the speciality here? So now we have one voltage source and as well as we have the current source. Okay, and as we know, in case of independent sources, so in while calculating ZTH or RTH, you have to disable the sources. That means current source should be made as open circuit, voltage source should be short circuited. So first step is same thing. Again, you have to calculate VTH. So in order to calculate VTH, so here I have used the nodal analysis. See, once they ask you to solve or find Thevenin's equivalent network, they will not put any restriction to you. You can use any KVL or KCL or source transformation also, right? So first I will go through this methodology. What I have done, I have applied KCL at node A. So this is completely node A only, this line. Okay, because all the elements are shorted there only, right? And this is node B. Okay, so now if you apply KCL here, then what will be the equation? So it looks something like this. We have node A where one current is already incoming. So that is of 2 at an angle 45, and two currents we can assume that they are outgoing currents. So incoming current I have written here and outgoing current I have written here. Incoming current is how much? 2 at an angle 45 is equal to outgoing current is VA divided by Z1, then VA minus 10 at an angle 90 divided by 5. Okay, so if you combine VA one side and solve it, then you will get this value. So that VAB or VA is nothing but our VTH. Okay. Next, to calculate ZTH, what you have to do? You have to disable the sources. This current source and this voltage source. This will be shorted. This will be made open. So if you check out that, you will get this. Okay. So this is shorted here, and this is open. So it is same as Z1 is in parallel with 5. So Z1 is in parallel with 5, and if you calculate that, you should get 1.77 at an angle 45 ohms. Okay. and the resulting Thevenin's equivalent network will be this, where this voltage source value is 6.49, or you can put 6.5 also, okay, at an angle 112.5. okay. Next one is the same thing, but here if you observe this circuit, we have the dependent source here. okay, so I want everyone to just observe this circuit first for 10-15 seconds. Okay, so kindly mute yourself. Those who have not muted, I request everyone to mute yourself. Okay, now if you go through this right now, so what is the required question here? Question is, again you have to find Thevenin's equivalent network, so across AB only. Okay, but here we have the dependent source. So once you have the dependent source, so kindly mute yourself, please check your mics. Once we have this open circuit with dependent source, so first thing is what you have to do. So you have to calculate VTH. So in order to calculate VTH, so again the voltage across AB you need to find. But before that, if you find the current I, because we have the dependent parameter here I, okay, so which is controlling. So where is that I is flowing? It is flowing here. It is shown here. Okay. So this current I, if you define by applying KVL, what you will get is minus 10 with 4 times I and minus J1 times I again, then plus 2 times I equal to 0. And if you calculate that, so this is not I1, this is plus 4I minus I into J1 it is. Okay. So this is the value what we are getting. Okay. So now once you get this, so if you apply KVL to the outer loop, so once you get the current, if you apply KVL to the outer loop, why we are applying KVL to the outer loop? Because the voltage we require. What is the voltage? Voltage is this voltage VTH, voltage across J2 and voltage across this. So if you apply KVL to the outer loop, what you can get is, you will get again minus 10 at an angle 4 times I plus J2 into 0 I have written. Why this is 0? Can anyone tell me?
Because of open circuit
Open circuit.
VTH.
Okay, so
Open circuit.
There is no current is flowing through A and
okay, very good, everyone. So since we have the open circuit here, no current will flow. So this is J2 times 0. Okay. So then plus VAB or VTH we can write. So if you calculate VTH, you should get this. Okay. And to calculate ZTH, so what you have to do is you have to short the terminal AB. So once you short the terminal AB, now you will get two loops. So one current you can assume I1 and another current you can assume I2, where I1 I can write it as I, because the direction of I1 is same as I, and I2 I can write it as I short circuit. Okay. And if you apply the KVL to the mesh 1 and 2 separately, so for mesh 1 what you will get, minus 10 4 times I1, then again minus J1 into I1 plus 2 times I1, and again here now if you take the current I2, that will be minus of minus J1 into I2 equal to 0. So if you solve, you will get this equation. Similarly, for second mesh, if you apply, you will be getting this equation. So now you cannot solve through the calculator. Again, you have to use the Cramer's rule. So if you apply the Cramer's rule, you can find delta. What is delta here? Delta should contain these variables: 6 minus j1 and j1, 2 minus j1 and minus j1. Okay. So delta 2, why we are calculating delta 2 only? Because we are interested in the ZTH. So second current we need to find. So we can find delta 2 here. Okay. And if you calculate that, you will be getting this value. And similarly, what is I short circuit is nothing but I2 only. So this is the required current. And ZTH is what? ZTH is VTH divided by I short circuit. So if you do this also, you should get ZTH is equal to this value. So you can again verify your answers and you can put it over here. Okay. So these are the few sample problems based on the Thevenin's theorem. So I again everyone please go through the lesson plan. So there at the end, go through the question papers also. So you can find plenty of questions on Thevenin's theorem. Okay. So solve them. Now I will take up few problems based on the Norton's theorem. So maybe around 3 problems, then we will wind up. Okay. So it is supposed to be next lecture. So the last 2 classes which I have not engaged due to some activities, so I will try to cover up here. Okay. So problems based on Norton's theorem, if you take, so what is the main difference between Norton's theorem application and Thevenin's theorem? So in Thevenin's theorem, we find VTH by opening the load, and then we also calculate the RTH by keeping the load or part B network as open. But in Thevenin's theorem, what will happen? We will do it in opposite way. We short the place where the load is connected. Then we also calculate RTH and Thevenin's resistance or Thevenin's impedance and Norton's resistance or Norton's impedance. The way of calculation is same for both, right? So here, if you look into this, all these are question paper problems only. So in the present problem, what they are asking, using Norton's theorem, find the current I. So where that current I is located? So here we have the current I. So that means the load is now 5 ohms only. So this 5 ohm resistor, where it is connected, so you mark them with point A and B or with some point XY. So depending on that, what you can do, so first you have to short that. So once you short it, you will get this network. Then what you have to do, you have to find the current here. Okay. So how to find the current here? So as we know this, so from the above network, what we can write is I3. So if you observe I3 here, so I3 is nothing but there is in this loop already a current source is there. I3 we can write it as minus 2 amperes. Okay. So if you apply KVL to mesh 1, this mesh here, so what you will get, minus 5, then I1 into 1 equal to 0 because nothing is here, no current will flow. Okay. Then if you write it, then what you can say, I1 will be 5 amperes. Okay. And if you use that in mesh 2, so there what we can get, so here we have 3 plus 2, 5 times I2 minus 3 times I3 equal to 0. I3 we already know and we don't know about the I2 value. Substitute I3 here, so we'll get I2 also. Okay. So, but what is short circuit current? This current we want. This current can be defined in two ways. One is you have I1 current is flowing here, and also I2 current is flowing like this. Okay. So what you can write, I1 is equal to I2 plus I short circuit or I Nortons. So I Nortons will be what now? I1 minus I2. Okay. So this is the requirement. So you will get Norton's current as this value. So similarly, now if you want to calculate the Norton's resistance, then we have current source and voltage source. Current source should be made as open circuit, and this has to be made as short circuit. So that I have done here. So if you observe the things, so what you can calculate, we want resistance across these 2 points here. So 1 ohm, 2 ohm and 3 ohm, they are not in series, right? So how to solve it? So if you want to solve that, see this 4 ohm resistance, if you take, it is connected, it is somewhere like this. You are calculating resistance here. If you are calculating resistance here, if one end is some resistance is there and this end is open already. If you are calculating resistance across xy, if this is 1 ohms, then xy will rxy will become 1 ohm only, because this end is open, it is completely open, so this can be discarded. So if we discard that, what will happen? So this end here to here, this will not be there. So what you get is 2 and 3 ohms, now they will be in series, and that combination will be in parallel with 1 ohm. So if you calculate that, you will get this. Yes, is that clear now, this concept? Are there any difficulties for you?
No, sir.
Okay, everyone. So if anybody is having any problem, so is that clear why this is not considered for calculation? Because here you have the open ends, right? So 4 ohm is connected to one end only, other end is open, so you can discard that for calculation. Okay. So what you get, 2 and 3 in series, so that combination will be in parallel with 1 ohm, right? Okay. So if you do that, you will get this Rn. So next, if you substitute the Norton's equivalent network, what you will get is IN and Rn, but what we want is current through 5 ohms. Okay. So if you want current through 5 ohms, then this current is what? You can apply current division rule. Main current multiplied by opposite resistance divided by summation of the two. So you will get this. Okay. Similarly, based on the Norton's theorem, you can determine the current through 16 ohm resistor here now. So this is the load now. So what you have to do? First, you have to short it. But here we have the dependent source. So this is again a very important problem. You can make out some observations here. Okay. So what you can do is you have to find the Norton's current. So Norton's current, if you want to find, the simple way is you can go for the application of KCL. See, nodal analysis is very simple than the mesh analysis in some circuits. So if you go for mesh analysis, what will happen? You will get the answer, but again it will create a super mesh here. We have a current source, right? So if you want to avoid that super mesh concept and all, then we can apply nodal analysis. So if you apply nodal analysis, what will be the result? V1 minus 40 divided by 10 plus this is the outgoing current. Its value is 0.8 Ix plus V1 divided by 6. So this will be the equation what you will be getting. But from the circuit we know what is Ix. Ix is ion only. So you can replace that also. So if you solve that, you will see that there are two unknowns, V1 and as well as ion. So you have to define one term in terms of the other term. So the simple one is ion. So ion or Ix. So what is that Ix? How we can define? So that can be defined as V1 divided by 6. I equal to V by R. Okay. So if you substitute that here and if you solve for V1, you will get V1 is equal to this voltage. And what is short circuit current or Norton's current? V1 divided by 6. So if you do that, you will get 1.67 amperes. Okay. See, this is a very important problem. So if you have any difficulties, let me know. Okay, so we shall move to the next step now. Calculation of Thevenin's resistance. Okay, so if you want to calculate the Thevenin's resistance, make this end as open. That is RAB is nothing but our Thevenin's only. See, if you observe this circuit now, what has happened? Earlier there was a current. Earlier there was a current Ix flowing here. This Ix is a variable which will control this dependent source, right? So if you observe this, now this is open. If this is open means what you can say, Ix will be 0, current will be 0. If this current is 0 means this dependent source, current through this dependent source will be also 0. So how that is represented? No current means open circuit. So we can make this as open circuit. So through this, if you find the open circuit voltage, so what will be the value? See, now you can, as a beginner, you can apply KVL to the outer loop here, but since everything is open, there will not be any current. So in gate examination and all, you should not write these equations directly by observation. Just see here, since it is open, no current can flow here and no current can flow here, right? So that means what will be the voltage? Voltage will be 40 volts only. So if you apply KVL also, you will get 40 volts only. Okay. But in VTU examination, you need to write these equations. Okay. Or write a valid reason here. If you write only this open circuit equal to 40 volts, right here, because as circuit is open, no current will flow through 10 ohms and 6 ohms. So either of the one you need to write. Then the Norton's current, Norton's resistance will be what? Open circuit voltage to the short circuit current. So if you do that, you will be getting 23.95 ohms and you can round it to 24 ohms. But what is our requirement? Our requirement is current through this. So current through 16 ohm, you can write it as main current multiplied by opposite impedance or resistance divided by summation of the two resistance. So that will give you I16 is equal to current through 16 ohm is equal to 1 amperes. Okay. So these are the two problems which I have considered from Norton's theorem. Okay. So in the coming classes, we shall consider few more problems on the Norton's theorem. Okay. We shall end here. So if you have any difficulties, let me know.